See how we go. Welcome, welcome to the Play Rated Gaming Podcast, episode one.
Hello.
We're gonna talk about our the topic we came up with for today. Hello, I'm Mikhail, by the way,
And I'm his plucky friend Philip.
and we're gonna talk about our earliest, what was it, earliest childhood
Your
gaming.
earliest memories of gaming.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been pretty much like for me, I'll make it quick. You can go like dive into yours first, but I've been pretty much playing video games almost as long as I can remember. Like I started my first console was the N64. I was born in 95 and I remember my parents got us an N64 with Super Mario 64 and what and the Buzz Lightyear game, like the Toy Story 2 Buzz Lightyear game. And those were my first two video games that I ever owned. I don't, but anyway, that was my earliest childhood. That was in like the late 90s. So before I go into mine, Phil, what are your earliest childhood gaming memories?
So I was. When did you say you got your N64?
You know, basically like it was Christmas of like maybe 98 or something because I was really, really young. I was like two or three when they got it. And I just remember being blown away. Like, dude, you're moving the stick and you can move the character on the screen. That's
Okay.
fucking wild to me.
So my gaming memories are they. What do you call it? My earliest gaming memories are way past my first console. I didn't get my first console till 2000, so I was born 92. So yeah, I was 8 years old. So
What?
I didn't get my first console till I was 8, but I played games way before that. I would always play at my cousin's house. We would play Crash Bandicoot a lot. Um, what else? I remember at my other cousin's house, he was a little older. He had a Genesis, and we would I would play like the games even on the previous generation. We would play like Primal Rage, the 2D Mortal Kombat games, Golden Axe.
Hell yeah.
And like you said, I was just like, wow, I'm moving and making stuff happen. This was the coolest thing.
I know it's just like so primitive now, but to us, it just like because we grew up in the time, like around the time that they were switching from mainstream gaming was going from 2D and making that transition to 3D, like with Ocarina, Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64, even like being my first game basically I owned was actually like it wasn't the first 3D game, I know, but like it was the first one to really like catapult it into mainstream, I guess.
Yeah, no, Mario 64 is definitely what made 3D gaming like, the norm. They're like, okay, we can do this.
Yeah, exactly. And even today, like games try to emulate. They try to like use that basic blueprint now. I mean, it's just wild. Like that game is freaking like as old as I am almost, and it's like still being used today as
Yes.
uh,
But here's the thing though, talking about the first games I owned,
yeah.
that's a different story. So the
What was
first
your first console though? You didn't say.
my first console was a PS1, and the first game I got for that, well, the first one that I opened
Yeah.
was the first Tomb Raider. I actually still have a copy of it. I actually still have that same copy in my bedroom.
I actually like I don't think I played the early Tomb Raiders, the Lara Croft from the 90s until I was like
They're
till I was
pretty.
older. Yeah, no, they've aged like crap, but like
I
I
mean,
just re-released them as like remasters or whatever.
like yeah, they've aged about as well as a cup of yogurt, but they still have their place in gaming history. But so that was the first console I had. But the first games I played, if these even really count, I mean, the first games I played were educational games on my stepfather's
Yeah.
computer.
No, I was gonna get into that too. Wait, do you what were some of the ones that you remember like in
The
San Diego?
Not Carmen San Diego. It was more like an interactive storybook than really a game, but I'll count it anyway. It was called Millie Fitzwilly's Mouse Catcher, where basically there's this woman named Millie Fitzwilly, and her whole town is infested with mice, and she comes up with all these different elaborate traps to get rid of them. And basically, you just click on, you'd click on whatever was on the page, and they'd do like and like something funny would happen.
I
That
remember
was
there was
basically.
it was like an educational game.
Well, I mean, that wasn't really educational. That's more like just a. It's more like an
Yeah.
interactive book than anything else.
It was one of those like it was literally maybe rated like early childhood. I don't even know if they use it anymore, but it's like one of those like rated EC or whatever.
What was the? I think it was K. I think that. I think
KA was kids to adults.
kids to adults. Yeah, they don't do that anymore. That
They
is.
don't. I know the first Snowboard Kids, which is also one of my earliest childhood games I played and still love to this day. It's one of my favorite games. The first Snowboard Kids is rated KA.
Yes.
And I was thinking like the Millie Fitzwill like I don't know what that one is. I never even heard of that, but
There's a playthrough of it on YouTube. I mean, again, it's literally just like an interactive kids storybook. It
yeah,
has some sentimental memory.
it's probably like like the playthrough is like an hour long maybe.
It's 35 minutes.
Yeah. The one for me, I guess my equivalent to that is like that. I had this Land Before Time CD-ROM game
That
on my
freaking maze thing, I've seen
yeah,
that.
it was the I think it's called Land Before Time Activity Center. And I may have actually played that before the N64. I can't quite remember if that was before, but that might have actually been the very first game I ever played, like technically. And I just remember that fucking T-Rex maze, dude. That shit was mortifying as a child. Like just the music alone, it's just so uncanny, you know?
Yes. Um, so what I didn't play. I never played Where's Carmen San Diego or any of the Waldo games.
Yeah, I don't think I played those either. I just knew of them.
I what did I play? I played like I forget what series they were called, but basically it was like each installment was like a different grade. Like they had one for like kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade.
Yeah.
Um, Basically, it would just teach you like basic safety things, like for being a kid, like don't talk to strangers, don't play with matches,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Um, and what else? I remember I had a Madeline game, and again, like
I might have too, actually. I remember.
like,
Little
like
Pixel.
this was before I had a console, and I tried to make the best of it. But the one I actually really liked, this was an educational game. This was more like an interactive story. It was Toon Town, not Toon Town. That's much more
I know
recent.
Toontown, yeah.
Toon World with little Howie. With it was this little bear voiced by Howie uh, Mendel. Howie Mendel.
The Deal or No Deal guy.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically it was this cartoonish, it was this toonish world, and basically you would visit all these different locations, and they would have like different nursery rhymes. Like if you go to like the mountain range, coming around the mountain when she comes, or if you go to grandma's cabin over the river and through the woods, and it was basically the same thing. Like you just click on the page and interact with it, and just funny stuff would happen. That
Yeah.
was pretty much the extent of it. It didn't Yeah, it wasn't really a game in the sense that it had any objectives. It was just, yeah, it was basically just an interactive storybook.
I think there was one I had that was like Arthur the Aardvark or whatever, and
We all know who Arthur is. You don't have to say the aardvark.
Arthur, and I fucking hated him too. I never liked that show as a kid either. But there was this
I,
one game I had, and I think his little sister goes missing.
DW.
Yeah, little DW goes missing, and you have to go try to find her, and she's just all she's doing is like hiding or something.
So she's not even really missing. She's just hiding.
Yeah, I don't even remember the play. I just remember there was like some game I had, and it was just something to play because it was one of the games in my CD-ROM like stack. So I'd play that. You and I both know we know that the Frogger 3D game, which was one of the hardest games I ever played to date.
Yeah, that I thought it looked, I thought the cover, like as a kid, I just kind of,
He's back.
I kind of just, I didn't even know what that meant. I'm like, where was he? Like, but
Yeah, I thought that
so
was like
anyway,
his first game as a kid.
no, but like, so I remember I picked it up because I'm like, oh, this looks like a fun little cartoony game. And I'm like, wow, this is really difficult.
Gruelingly difficult. It's mostly because that damn timer.
The thing is, like, it's so difficult, like, especially for kids. I dare say, like, it's not even really like fun.
No, I remember that freaking that ice slide level was a nightmare. Just the
I,
camera is awful.
I think I still have my copy in my bedroom. I'll have to go check it out. But another
There's cheats
game.
in it. I remember there was that, and I figured out what they were somehow, even before YouTube, and I was able to like just like unlock every level in the game.
Okay, so this game, it's not like it's not as unfair, but still pretty challenging. The first Rayman, even with all the cheats,
Oh, I've heard, yeah.
I still could, even with all the cheats enabled, I couldn't beat it.
I've heard the Rayman games are a night. I've only played Rayman Legends, I think, on like the PS4,
Hmm.
and it got you. I don't think I ever finished it, but it was. I think they made it a little bit more like casual,
Yeah.
so maybe people didn't like that. But that was a nightmare. But that Frogger game, they made a sequel to it, and it was just so baby bitch easy compared to the first one. The second one I can actually like run through really quickly because I've played it a few times. It's very short compared to it.
Okay. I never played the second one. But
Swampy's Revenge, I think it was.
yeah, I'm guessing they just heard the feedback and they're just like, yeah, just
Like,
tone this down.
calm down. This is supposed to be like appeal to kids.
There were two games that I liked, but the like as a kid, but the layout was kind of difficult. I mean, well, I only played the second one as a kid. The first
Mhm.
one I didn't play as an adult. I didn't play till I was an adult. Tumba 2, like Tumba 2, I thought was a good game, but the way that it's laid out is a little confusing. Like it's 2.5D, so it's like kind of 3D, but also kind of a side scroller. And
Did they
just,
remaster that one? I never played Tumba.
I think they're remastering the first one. I'd hopefully they'll remaster the second one, but it's just like even as an like I played through it as a kid. And I thought it was kind of confusing, but then like I replayed it as an adult, and I'm still confused. I'm like the navigation, like there's a lot of how can I put this? Like there's points in the map where like you twist and turn, and it kind of like rotates, and it gets a little hard to remember where you are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I mean like I don't know, like if I ever can get my hands on it again, I'll what you call it? If I can ever get my hands on it again, I'll try to play through it in its entirety.
I know there was a couple other CD-ROM games. I'm kind of spacing. I know there was the Arthur game. Oh yeah, I had a Casper the Friendly Ghost game too, and it was like
I
it was
still have
a
it.
hybrid, like semi-educational, semi like another activity center, kind of like that Land Before Time one.
Okay, then I'm thinking of something different. I have a Casper game that's more like a 2D side scroller.
No, it wasn't that. I think I know what you're talking about, but it
It's
wasn't.
not very good.
It wasn't like a standard 2D platformer. It was more of like a handful of mini games that you play, kind of just like the Land Before Time one.
No, yeah, the fucking. But I will say this though, like the Casper game, it was what you call it. It wasn't very good, and it was really confusing. And I remember I was just floating around trying to figure out what the heck I'm supposed to do. And like just after an hour, I'm just like, you know what, I'm
It
done
was
with this.
scarily bad.
It was just really like it looked nice. Like I
Mm.
thought it looked really nice, but it
That was on the computer?
no, this was on the PS1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like here's like once I got my PS1, I'm trying to think. So I played the computer games like Tonka Rescue, the third grade, like the third grade. I forgot what it was called, but the games where it was like third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, whatever. The
Yeah.
Madeline game and two. I played those up until I was maybe like 6 or 7.
Hmm.
Um, I played those up until I was 6 or 7, and then when I got my PS1, I never looked back.
Yeah, see, with me, it was like I've had every PlayStation since the two. I didn't have a PS1 as a kid, but my neighbors all had PS1s, and I would always play it at their place. And then my other neighbor had an Xbox original, so I would either play Fusion Frenzy at his house, or I would play like Halo actually was my first shooter. So it's like I have a lot of like cliche answers to this. No, actually, GoldenEye was my first shooter, but Halo was my first M-rated game, rather. So it's like I have a lot of like mainstream g- generic answers for like, oh, what was my first shooter? It was GoldenEye. And what was your first M-rated game? It was Halo 1. And or like what was my first game I owned? It was like Super Mario 64. It's like, but um yeah, I mean there's more specific ones. Like I mentioned Snowboard Kids. That game still sticks with me. I fucking love that game. I have it
Um,
emulated. I still play it all the time.
do light gun games count?
Oh, like those yeah, I guess like House of the Dead and shit.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, like any game counts. It's like a video game, you know, so.
The first shooter I ever played was Terminator 2 on the Genesis.
Oh, nice. Oh, wait, you had a Genesis as a kid
No,
or?
no, my cousin did.
Oh,
Like
yeah, yeah, you said
any
that.
Genesis games, I would always play at my cousin. Same with Dreamcast because
Yeah.
he was one of the few who actually got one.
Hmm. I
Yeah,
had
I mean,
Pacific Dark on the N64, but I don't think I got that until later. Like I think I got that in like a bargain bin or something.
so I'm not. I mean, I'm only kind of recently a Nintendo fan. Like the first Nintendo system I ever got was the Switch.
Yeah, you're late to it. Late to the game, late to the party.
No,
That's
yeah,
fine though. You didn't grow up with it. I mean,
no, like I sort of did. Like my two neighbors had N64, so I always just play at their house. Like
yeah, the weird fucking controller.
I did not like the controller, but I would say that I really liked Mario. I like Mario 64. Um, I didn't really like playing Zelda Ocarina of Time, but I thought it was kind of cool to watch my friend play it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a little
game,
intimidating as a kid. Like it seems like such a big game, but it's like really not.
well, I mean, by today's standards, it's
Yeah.
microscopic.
Um,
But real quick though, I remember a game I actually did play fairly extensively for no reason because it's really not even all that. It's really not all that. The gameplay really isn't all that special. The friggin' Pokemon Snap. Do you remember that one?
I had Pokemon Snap. I
Oh
remember
yeah,
I rented that shit from like Blockbuster, and then I just bought it because I was like, "This is awesome!" Like a little slice of life game.
it's just you just take pictures. That's it.
I don't know, but for some reason, there's a
Fucking.
reason they made a sequel to it. People like it.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know what it is. Like the gameplay is just so minimal, but for
I
whatever
know
reason, I had such a
it's
blast playing it.
no business being well received, but it is.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I dare say that that's like the first real like game that should have just been an app.
That was your first person shooter.
No, no, my first person shooter was my first shooter was still Terminator 2. My first proper first person shooter, like legit first person shooter. Let me think.
You didn't play
Uh,
GoldenEye as a kid?
say what?
You didn't play GoldenEye as a kid?
No, I wasn't really. I only really played Mario.
Yeah, I feel you.
Um,
It was
my
just great because of split screen.
yeah, I'm trying to think. My first real FPS. Oh, my first real FPS was actually the South Park game on N64.
That game sucks.
It does, but it has a special place in my heart. It was the first FPS I ever played.
Yeah, I feel you.
The first, the first FPS I ever owned was Turok on the PS2, but I fucking hated it. I played it for like maybe a half hour.
You mean Turok Evolution?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, they had some funny cheats in that game though, where you can make I don't know. There was some like it was only the cheats that made that game good, but yeah, I agree that game was kind of ass.
I just thought it was so boring. Like it felt so empty and hollow.
You think a game about shooting dinosaurs would be cool, but
Oh yeah, my first FPS that I owned that I liked was Stranger's Wrath.
oh yeah, Stranger's Wrath was awesome. You got me
Yeah,
into it.
no, yeah, like back when that came. Let's see, that game came out in 2005, so I was 13. I was a huge Oddworld fan at the time, and the only reason why I even got an Xbox was for Munch's Odyssey.
Yeah,
It was the only reason I got an Xbox, and as an adult, I can see Munch's Odyssey for what it is. It's not perfect, but as a kid, I really enjoyed it. I find that really strange. You'd think it'd be the other way around. Like as a kid, you don't like something, and then you grow to appreciate it. But no, like as a kid, I really loved it, and as an adult, I realized just how imperfect it is.
that happens sometimes.
But Stranger's Wrath,
There's
though,
still some games that like I have a soft spot for, but I acknowledge like they're kind of shit.
what's the worst one?
One that is not really that good that I like. Um, I mean, I'm trying to stick to like early childhood games. Um, but First of all, one sec, side note. I didn't realize that you have to upgrade Zoom to go past 40 minutes. So just so you know, 8-minute warning.
You've already been on for 40 minutes.
Almost. It'll be 40 minutes in 7 minutes and 45 seconds. So just so you know.
How?
I don't know, bro. Apparently there's a limit. I didn't know there was a limit. I asked ChatGPT and it was like, "Oh, there's no limit. You can just keep recording forever." And I'm like, "Bullshit."
I mean, again, AI has only come so far.
We'll find maybe another way to record, or we'll just upgrade if we need to. It depends. But yeah, like I mean that Rugrats in Paris game is not really that good. It's actually kind of creepy because a lot of N64 games has that very like liminal space kind of feeling to it, where it feels like the back rooms because of the limited like hardware of the time, limited for what they could do with the coding. I don't know exactly what it is about it, but it's just it has like kind of an eerie like sort of atmosphere to it that can't necessarily be replicated. That's why I think games like Silent Hill 2 on the original PS2 version is like its age and limited hardware actually lends to its atmosphere a lot. That can't necessarily. I haven't played the remake. You said it's really good, but it
Yeah,
kind of like can't necessarily be emulated correctly or transferred nowadays. Like people can still make great horror games, but there was something more like about less is more in terms of like the horror atmosphere, like games like Siren or
yeah,
early Silent Hill.
the very tactile way in which they were presented. But with the N64, I think what it was is that like it was like, especially like towards the end, it was trying to like look as realistic as possible, but it was still limited. And I feel like them pushing it to its limit is what gave it that uncanny look.
Well, that's what the Rareware did with Conker's Bad Fur Day. Like that is actually like the highest like running game. I mean, I could be talking out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure Conker, because it's so late in the cycle and Rare, like I think they were gonna just switch it to GameCube, but no, they pushed that game, that hardware to its limits with that game. That's why it looks and runs so well. It's almost like, wow, this is running on the N64. A lot of voice acting and everything too. Like that wasn't very common in in other games, like even compared to Banjo-Kazooie, which is my favorite game of all time. But yeah, and Banjo-Kazooie, that's another one I want to get out real quick is so my earliest one of my earliest memories of being scared, and I wrote about this in one of the articles, I forget which one, but um when I was very young, because I told you we got the N64 for my sister and I. My sister's a little older, so I guess it was a gift to both of us. But we had Banjo-Kazooie at one point. I must have been like 3 or 4 years old. I started playing it, and that game over screen where your Banjo's little sister Tootie goes into the machine, and then Gruntilda does a little like beauty swap with her, and then she turns into that monster ogre thing. For some reason, that scared the piss out of me as a kid that I actually took the game cartridge and I hid it somewhere for like God knows how long, maybe like 6 months to a year, until I finally grew a pair and I was like, you know what, this isn't so bad. And then I came back and it was just funny. But for some reason, it wasn't even Gruntilda herself. It was just like that. It was like a body horror kind of thing to me, and it really creeped me out. And that was like my earliest memory of being traumatized by something, I think.
I see.
But
Um,
now it you know what? Just want to wrap up that thought, Banjo-Kazooie is my favorite game of all time now, so it was meant to be. Anyway, you were saying?
so the first game that really scared me. So here's the thing: I played Resident Evil 2 very briefly at my cousin's house before I played Crash Bandicoot 2.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was Resident Evil 2 at the time. I just was playing. I didn't know what it was. I didn't realize what it was until years later. But I wasn't really scared in Resident Evil 2 just because like the zombies just move and sound just so goofy. They're just like
Yeah.
they just kind of shuffle like they're like dancing really badly.
Just so goofy. Yeah.
But here's a thing that actually scared me in Crash Bandicoot 2. There's levels in that game where you're like in this mountain area or
Oh yeah.
whatever, and when you run past a beehive, bees chase you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like every time I run past and I hear the, I'm like, oh my god, they're coming.
No, I feel you on that. That's how, I mean, same game, Banjo-Kazooie, but that's, I mean, this is a more obvious thing to freak you out. Um, but like, kids get scared by weird things. This was actually legitimately scary, and people can relate to this. Is that fucking Clanker shark or whatever? Or not Clanker, but that fucking shark on Treasure Trove Cove. God damn, man, when that music kicks in, dun, 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 and that fucking shark chases you everywhere, man. That was another one of my, I think that scared me even after I came back to the game.
Oh, another one that scared me is Sonic Adventure 2. There's nothing really scary about like there's no
Sonic
boss or
Adventure 2, you said?
Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah.
The thing that would get my heart pounding is when you were underwater and you'd start to run out of air, and then that
Oh
music would.
yeah. It was like that in the 2D Sonic games where in the chemical plant or whatever. And it just starts like going doot 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 doot.
No, yeah, like I didn't play those. Like I played them very briefly, but the only one I ever played in depth for some reason was Sonic Adventure 2. I played a little bit of Sonic Adventure 1, but I never finished it.
Yeah.
But
I
Sonic
don't think I played the
Adventure 2,
first one either.
yeah, but like Sonic Adventure 2, just when that music would hit, I would just panic. I'm just like, oh my god, why is this so intense?
Okay, so since we only have another minute and a half real quick, I guess I'll leave off on what was the game that really had you like, I guess, fall in love with gaming? I mean, I guess I could really just say Mario 64, or even the Buzz Lightyear game, because those were my like
Crash
first.
Bandicoot.
Yeah, Crash. I mean, Crash, I played as a kid. I didn't have a PS1, but obviously, like, I would play it either at friends' houses, or like neighbors' friends, or I would just play it at McDonald's in the fucking play area.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, those are pretty much our earliest memories as far as I know. I mean, there's tons, but
Yes,
then I got the GameCube after the 64, and I had Luigi's Mansion, Mario Sunshine.
we are just about of time.
Yeah, it shows for you too.
No, but you said we have a minute and a half, and I'm pretty sure we're almost past
Yeah, we
that.
got less than a minute left. So anyway, yeah, this is a PlayRated Games podcast. I guess we'll do this every week, or we'll try to.
Sure, why not?
And then the next one we'll do in person, so it'll be better audio, I'm sure, and everything. But anyway, take it easy, everybody.
Okay.